just I'm shown how we are performing risk analysis for user level and all, but it's not working previous. Again, let me show you how we can perform the risk analysis for the users. Coming to the access management, in NWBC we have access risk analysis. Then now we can click on user level. After click on user level, then here we need to select the system. Okay, so here we have a EHP client something 800 is there. Select that and select the user ID. So if you want to perform the risk analysis for which user, okay, select that user here. If you click on search button, again we have to search. Then we can see all the user IDs here. Okay, select any one of the user. Okay, select this user, and then this user having any violations is there or not. Now we can click on run in foreground. So if we click on run in foreground, then we can see Sirisha one having which system, this system ID, and what is this? No rules were selected. That means this user don't have any violations. If we go analysis criteria, in this analysis criteria, first we have selected system, then we have selected this one, and global we have selected, and the user this one. Okay, so this user don't have any violations. Take any other user, and we have to select the custom rule set ID also there. One second. Take any other user. This user having any violations is there or not? Okay, this user also don't have violations. One second. So we are going to log in EC system. Take any one of the user here. For example, if we take Sirisha one, change this user having any violations here, no roles. Is there profiles? No profiles, so that's fine. Okay, SAP all you can take and save it. Okay, now we can perform risk analysis for that user. Again, click on done in foreground. Just close the screen. Again, click on user level and select the system and select the user ID. Before we selected Sirisha one, right? Now we can click on run in foreground. Is there any violations? No violations. Why? This user account is available, this one. Okay, then user level, it didn't get any violations here. Now we can go user level simulation. Actually, user level and role level is taking care of our SOD team in every 6 months or every 1 year. They have to perform user level risk analysis and role level risk analysis. And now we can go user level simulation. Simulation daily we are performing as a GRC team. What is the simulation purpose? Simulation is nothing but test analysis. So if any person is requested role access, if any person is requested role access, so before assign role to the user, must we have to perform user level simulation. So simulation is nothing but test analysis. If I click on search button, okay, select the system here, and we can assign the role to which user, select the user also. For example, is there Vijay is there. So Vijay already having some roles access, but he needed some other role also. One of the role this person is requested one more role access. At that time, what we can do? So we can perform before assign the role to this user. We can perform must user level simulation. After select the system and user, then click on next button. Okay, we have a three steps are there. Define analysis criteria, define simulation criteria, confirmation. Now we can click on next. If we click on next, second is define simulation criteria. Here we need to verify so here we have a risk from simulation only, select that. Then go to the roles tab. Here we have three tabs are there: actions tab, roles tab, and profiles tab. Coming to the roles tab, add the role, which role we are going to assign. That role we can add it here. Role type, technical role, and here we have a business role, technical role, some other role is there. Which type of role we have to select here? See, our backend system roles we can call it as a technical roles. So always, if you want to perform risk analysis, risk user level simulation, so must we need to set the role type is technical role only. And system, which is system, is a system. Role, which role? We have so many roles are there. Okay, search here. So we are going to assign, starting with ZSD, having how many roles are available in this system. Okay, starting with Z star. Jetstar having how many roles are there? See, these many roles are available. Okay, take any that user is requested which role access, that role you can select here. Okay, for example, now we are going to assign this role. If you assign this role to user, user is getting any violations. Now we can click on run in foreground. If you click on run in foreground, see finally we got the report here. So if you assign that role to user, user is getting any violations. There is no violations. Okay, there is no violations. So at that time, what we can do directly, we can assign it. If any violations is came, what we can do, we don't assign role to the user. We can send that report to SOD team. In our project we have a segregation of duties. SOD means segregation of duties. SOD team is separately there. We can export this data to our Excel sheet. Here we have export to Excel option. After that, we can send that Excel report to SOD team. SOD team will decide it. Okay, what we can do next? Okay, there is no violations. We can assign directly. Is there any violations? We can export Excel sheet. Then you can Excel sheet share to SOD team. SOD team will decide and they will provide the information to you. Based on that confirmation, we can assign the role or not assign the role. So that is as per our SOD team confirmation, we can take the action. Okay. Okay, that's it. So this is the user level simulation actually. Simulation means what? Before assign role to the user, must we have to perform user level simulation. If you perform the user level simulation, user is getting any violations, we can send the report to SOD team. So based on the SOD team confirmation, we can take the remaining actions. Okay, and if don't we are not getting any violations, what we can do, we can assign directly role to the user. Go to the backend system, we can assign the role to user. So violations is there we can't assign. Is there is no violations, we can assign it. Next one, role level. So role level also we are not performing. That is taking care of SOD team responsibility. During every 6 months or every 1 year, they need to perform. Okay, select the system and then select the role. We are going to perform the risk analysis for which role? Select the role here. Start search. Okay, select any role here. Okay, take this role. Okay, this role having any violations. Now we can click on run in foreground. If you open that role, so that role having which transaction codes, what are the actions is there? Actions is nothing but, so this role don't have any violations here. Think so details are there, everything is there. So and this role is also we don't have any violations. And this role also don't have any violations here. No rules were selected. No rules were selected is nothing but, so that is there is no violations for this role. So each and every role having one or more transaction codes. So if I open that role, so here we have all the data. Okay, what are the actions are there? The actions is available here, action description and everything. Action is nothing but in GRC terminology, transaction codes. Okay, and close this one. Yeah. So here there is no violations because of the transaction code combination. That role is not getting any violations. And role level simulation means here, role level simulation is nothing but this is also, for example, if you know the role, okay, one role is available here, that role already having some T codes. Okay, that role already having some transaction codes. If you want to add one new transaction code, if you want to add one new transaction code inside the existing role, okay, if you want to add any new transaction code inside the existing role, so if you add the tree code, those transaction code combination, the role is getting any violations. Before adding the new T code in the existing role, we need to perform this role level simulation. This role level simulation. Select the system and select the role. We are going to add one T code in that existing role. Okay, here so many roles are there. Take any one of the role. Okay, this role already having some transaction codes. If you want to add any new transaction code, in that existing role getting any violations or not. See, here coming to the second step, set the checkbox is risk from simulation only. Then actions we can add it here. Add actions is the EHP system and action from. For example, we are going to add SU01 T code under this role. Okay, if I add the SU01 transaction code under this role, that role is getting any violation or any foreground? No. So if you want to add the SU01 transaction code in this role, is there any violation? There is no violations. So you can add the transaction code in that role. SU01 add in that role. If there is there any violations, don't add it. We can send that report to SOD team, so they will decided if we are added or not. Okay, they will decide it. Just we are performing the risk analysis. Is there any violations? We can export it to Excel sheet. Then you can provide the Excel sheet to SOD team. SOD team will decide it. After that, we can take the action. Okay. For anything, if you want to assign new role, if you want to add any like a new transaction code in existing role, any user modifications, anything, so that is taking care, means we will take the approvals, then you can perform the activity. Okay, here SOD team approvals required, and some other means some other new topics is means will explain coming sessions. So it's required manager approval, business analyst approvals, SMEs approvals. Okay, so these all approvals also needed for to perform any kind of activity in SAP. Okay, that's it. So the access management, access risk, if any user having access is there. So by using that access, user is getting any violations or not, we need to use this access management, access risk and user level simulation, role level and roles level simulation. But daily we are performing user level simulation, role level simulation. Okay, why we are performing user level simulation? If any person is requested role access, if you want to assign that role to user, the role relevant, okay, those uh, combination of those transaction code user is getting any violations or not, we need to verify it here. User level simulation means before adding the role, before assign the role to the user, must we have to perform user level simulation. Role level simulation for before adding new custom T code into existing role, must we have to perform this role level simulation. Okay, daily we have to perform that. That's it. Any questions so far? Simulation means test analysis. Okay. Okay, got it. The next activity under second one here, we have three words are there. First one is rule set. What is the rule set? And second one is risk. What is the risk? Then third one is function. Okay, what is the function? See, rule set is nothing but generated rules, generated rules from the risk. That is called it as a rule set. You see, if you generate the risk, rules will be generated automatically. Rules will be generated automatically. That is called as a rule set. And what is the risk? Risk is nothing but combination of risk is nothing but combination of two conflicting functions. Two conflicting functions, that is called it as a risk. What is a function? Function is nothing but collection of transaction codes and the relevant permissions. Okay, collection of transaction codes and the relevant permissions that is called it as a function. Okay, permissions is nothing but what? Authorization objects in GRC terminology. Actions means transaction codes. Okay, so collection of actions and the relevant permissions, that is called as a function. Okay, these three words, rule set is nothing but what? Generated rules from the risk, that is called as a rule set. Risk is nothing but combination of two conflicting functions, that is called as a risk. And risks are three types actually. Actually, three type of risks are there. First one is SOD risk. Second one is critical action risk. Critical action risk. Next, one more risk, one more type of risk is there. There is a critical permission risk. Okay, three type of risks are available: critical action risk, critical permission risk, and SOD type of risk. Okay, so one by one we'll explain. If you go interview, they will ask this question: how many risk types are there in GRC? We have a three type of risks: SOD risk, critical action risk, and finally critical permission risk. Three type of risks are there. And by default we have already rule set. The rule set ID is global. What is that? This is a by default one. Some persons are using by default one. Some persons, some clients are need to create a custom rule set ID. They need to use custom rule set ID. But how we can create custom rule set ID? We are not created in real time custom risk IDs, custom rules, and a custom function IDs. We are not created, but just we need to know how we can create a rule set, how we can define the risk, how we can create a function IDs. We need to know. Okay, see how we can create a rule set. How we know how to create a rule set, how to create a functions, how to create a risk IDs will explain. But now I'm going to show how to create a rule set ID. See, some clients are using by default one. Some clients are need to create custom rule set. They need to use,
Ma'am, we can also use by default.
yeah, by default also we can use it. So in my project, using both by default one and custom rule set ID. But some projects only we are using by default one. Some project only we are using custom rule set ID. Okay, that's why I'm showing here how we can create and how we can set up by default rule set ID. So which workstation we are using to create a by default rule set ID and all? Setup workstation. In setup workstation NWBC, where we have a access rule maintenance. Okay, under that access rule maintenance, we have a rule sets option. Click on that rule sets. And then we can see already these many rule set IDs are available. Someone is created. But global is by default one. But global is by default one, and remaining all are somebody created. Now we are going to create custom rule set ID. Click on create. Okay, and select the rule set ID. The rule set ID is started with Z letter. Why? Because custom data started with either Z letter or Y letter. So Z global. Okay, it's already there. So sometimes we are maintain the project name. So for example, we are working on PepsiCo project. So here we have to maintain the description of the same. It's a very easy rule set ID creation. Okay, first enter the rule set ID name and rule set description, and finally save this data. Okay, data has been saved successfully. Successfully, data has been saved. Okay, and now we can close. Then we can see which one you created rule set ID. The rule set ID is available in this list. Yes, we have that. This one, Z PepsiCo. Okay, successfully we have created that. One second. Okay, this is a very easy process to create a custom rule set ID. This is the by default one global. By default one means GRC provided, SAP provided this one, and but this one is created by whom? Admin 001. And this one is created by some people. This one is created by some people. Okay, so some people are created custom rule set ID, but this is a by default one. Okay, some projects we are using global one, some projects we are using customized one also. Okay, based on the client requirement, we need to follow the process. They need a custom rule set ID. Yes, we can create custom rule set ID, but they don't need custom rule set ID. They need a by default one. Yes, we can use by default one. Okay. Next one. The next one is what? Function. So function is nothing but what? Collection of T codes, collection of actions and the relevant permissions, that is called it as a function. Okay, actions means in GR's terminology, actions is nothing but transaction codes, permissions is nothing but authorization objects. Already by defaultly some functionalities are available. Okay, by defaultly we have some functionalities. Now we can click on functions, then we can see all the okay, then we can see all the functionalities. These are the by default functionalities. AO01, this is a functionality for which function supply and demand planning, and which business process, which module relevant, APO module relevant. Okay, and AO02, this is for which one, maintain model, and which business process, APO. See, if we take any like basis module, for example, our security module, you can take. Okay, I will take small example. You can understand what is a function and all. If it is security module, in the security module, how many functions are there? User administration is a one function, and another function is role administration, right? Two functions are there. This is the first part of the security and the second part of the security, right? So, but this is a one of the function, and this is a another function under security module. But how many functionalities we need to create? Two functionalities. User administration having one function ID, role administration having one function ID. So two functions we need to create. Same way, if you take the basis we have is so many functions are there. Okay, totally 20 functions are available. Okay, client administration, transport administration, basis configuration, utilities, so many up to 20 functions are there. Each function we can create a one function ID. So how many functionalities we need to create? 20 functionalities we can create. Okay, in same way, FI also. FI also having how many functions are there? Each and every function we need to create a function ID for that. Okay, that's it. So here already by defaultly some functionalities are available. Okay, these are the function. This is a functionality for which module element, APO. And under APO we have a different kind of functions. So AO01 is a functionality for which function? Supply and demand planning. The same way if you take basis module, every module wise we have a by default. These are the finance, these are the HANA, and these are the HR payroll, and these are the material management. Okay, FICO, HR and payroll, APO module, Okay, this is a basis. See this. Okay, this is a basis actually. So BS01 is relevant to basis. How many basis functionalities are available here? The basis functionalities are up to 20 maybe. See, up to 20 we have. Why? Because basis having 20 functions and each and every function having function ID. Okay, each and every function having function ID. Okay, that's it. And if you want to create any custom functionalities, yes, we can create it. How we can create? Here we have a create option. Now we can click on create button, then we can create a custom functionalities also. Okay, that's it. So each and every module having one or more functions and each and every function having function ID. If you want to create any custom functionalities, yes, we can create it by using the create option here. Okay, if we click on create, then we can see here we can enter the details of the function ID. So our function IDs are starting with Z letter. Then we are going to create a function ID for mm under picking list. Okay, module f1. Okay, so we are going to create a function ID for relevant. So having so many there. So f1, f2, f3, f4. So we need to create up to how many there. For example, module having 15 functions. So each function, one function ID you can create. Up to how many functions we can create? 15 functionalities we can create it. Select the business process. Material management, right? Materials management. Then this is ZMM and f1 is belongs to which function ID relevant this one? This is for purchasing order. Okay, purchasing order. Purchase order. This is for purchase order. Under the purchase order, how many T codes are there? We can add all the T codes here. So in the below we have action permission. Go to the action, add it, and select the system first. Which is system? Our system is there already. Which is that system, right? But our system is where? Our connector name is there, right? Which is that connector name? Naveen relevant, right? So select this, open that connection test. That's fine. Do this test. Yeah, fine, right? Why it's not showing that? So if you are getting the type of error, so we have to see like our system is not available here. Why? Somebody deleted here. Okay, here we have to maintain our connector name. The connector name is Naveen, right? Okay, we are doing the configuration, so don't delete, please. Yeah, maybe now it's available here. Check it once. Coming to the functionalities creation and close this one once. Then you can again you can create it. Click on create. Enter the details of the function ID. Same ZMMF1 and business processes that relevant to materials management. Okay, ZMMF1 is belongs to, this is for purchase order. Okay, then add the actions here. Click on add button and select the system. Here is game. Naveen. Actions is nothing but what? It's a purchase order relevant actions like transaction codes. We need to add it. That is for ME21. So ME21 is relevant to purchase order. Create purchase order. So here we can add ME22 also. Click on go. ME22 is also came. Select the transaction code. Here we have a arrow mark is there. Okay, arrow mark we have. Open arrow mark and close arrow mark is this. So click on close arrow mark. Then we can see ME21, ME22 added. We have one more also. So purchasing order so many there, but here I'm adding only three transaction codes here. Create, change, display. Okay, added these three. If you add the transaction codes in action tab, automatically the transaction code relevant permissions like authorization objects are available here. Okay, authorization objects are there. If you add the transaction codes in action tab, automatically the transaction code relevant authorization objects are available in permission tab. Finally, save this data. Okay, successfully we have created function ID. Which function ID we created? This one, ZMMF1, and this is a purchase order. And who is created that? Admin001 created for this function ID. Okay, in the same way we need to create some other function IDs also. Okay, now we are going to create one more function ID. Click on create. That is for ZMMF2. Same, materials management relevant. And ZMMF2 is a relevant to goods movement. Okay, then the goods movement relevant transaction codes we need to add it here. First select the system and then select the transaction code. Which transaction codes we need to add under this function ID? Only goods relevant. Okay, MI0. Okay, MI0 is a goods movement relevant. Select this, add, and click on OK. That is added. If you want to add any other relevant there, same process we can follow. Okay, select that. So some we have some other T codes also like MIZ4. MI04. This is also one of the transaction codes under goods movement. MI06. Okay, that is also it's a one of the goods movement relevant. So we have added three transaction codes: MI04, MI0, and MI06, and MI these all are. So these three transaction code relevant to goods movement. Only goods movement relevant added here. Okay, how we can identify that? We have a role matrix. In role administration part, we discussed, right? We have a different kind of tasks are there, and each and every task contains one or more transaction codes, right? Same way, we can use role matrix documentation to create a function IDs. Okay, roles also we can, roles creation time also we are using role matrix documentation. In the same way, we need to create a function IDs. While creating the function IDs also we are using role matrix documentation. Okay, then only we can, we don't know otherwise. What are the T codes are available, goods movement, what are the transaction codes are available, picking list. We don't know that. Without role matrix, very difficult to create a function IDs. Okay. Now finally save this data. So successfully we created two function IDs. What function IDs we created? Remember, Z, MM, F1 we have created, and Z, MM, F2 we created. These two function IDs we created. Okay. So this is a process we need to follow if you want to create any custom function IDs. Maximum we are using by default function IDs. But when we have to create custom function IDs, it's a for custom transaction codes purpose. Okay, that is for custom transaction code purpose. We need to create a custom function IDs. But in real time, we are not created custom rule set, and we are not created custom rule set IDs, and we are not created custom risk IDs. Who will take care of that? That is taking care of SOD team only. SOD team, they will maintain the all the risk IDs, function IDs, and rule set IDs. Okay, our responsibility only, we have to perform the access risk analysis for users and roles. Then if is there any violations is there, we can send report to them. Means SOD team will decided we have to apply remediation method or mitigation method. So I will explain two methods are there here in GRC, remediation and mitigation. Will explain clearly remediation and mitigation also. Okay. So do you have any questions so far? Function IDs creation, rule set ID creation.